Bethesda, take notes. Out of all of the awesome announcements and updates to come out of E3 2016, the one that has me and many other gamers the most excited is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This game is doing a lot to not only challenge what it is that makes a Zelda game great, it also seems to be attempting to challenge the open world action games genre that we've seen proliferate this generation as a whole. Now, open world games aren't anything new for the industry. Hell, open world games aren't even new for Nintendo. In many ways, this is more of a reimagining of what made the original Legend of Zelda so great: freedom. Now in 2016, freedom in games is scary. There's way too many unpredictable variables to account for. The case study for that is Bethesda Studios games like Skyrim, or more recently, Fallout 4. Their games are super ambitious and as a result, usually super broken. To be fair, it's understandable considering there's no way possible that they knew that you would want to walk through the Commonwealth with nothing but a hat equipped, 4 items in your inventory, and Piper in your party while you sporadically spin around while traversing the environment. How can you blame them that you fell through the floor and lost your save to the autosave system? But no, seriously, open world games are obviously hard work. The thing is, even with that in consideration, very few developers hold their games to a similar standard as Nintendo's A-Team over at EAD. As such, I think it's safe to assume that Nintendo will bring us the best from many worlds. Like, do you guys see the amount of games Nintendo is taking cues from? I noticed influences from games like the aforementioned Elder Scrolls and Fallout franchises, Monster Hunter, Minecraft, Metal Gear Solid, RIP, Assassin's Creed, and more. It's exciting to see Nintendo take inspiration from contemporary games and extrapolate on those concepts to make them fit into the Zelda mythos. Let's talk specific examples. The first thing that comes to mind is that sick lumberjack skill Link has going on. It really gave me a Minecraft vibe. You can chop down trees with your axe, or if you're uninformed and or unfortunate, your sword, and then chop that up even further into firewood. Only it's deeper in this game than it is in Minecraft. The trees have physics. You can chop a tree down and use it as a bridge to make it from one side of a valley to another. Or you could misjudge the angle at which you need to cut it down, and then you'll be left to try and find another way across. And that's a testament to how dynamic this world is. There's multiple solutions to any given problem. Maybe you decide to take on the Rock Talus by staying back and sniping him with your arrows, whereas I could prefer to climb on top of it with a sword in hand and go straight for the head up close and personal. That's all in large part to the physics engine, and that goes for the arch that arrows have, or the downright ridiculous mechanic of fanning a boat sail with a deku leaf to make it move faster. Or like the cooking system, that reminds me of how cooking works in Monster Hunter, where you can collect ingredients to make meals that can not only heal you, but they can also give you stat buffs and effects, like warming you up in cold environments. Only it's more accessible and readily available. Anywhere that there's fire in Breath of the Wild, you can cook. You can freaking cook things by smacking them with a fire rod. Best game. Earlier this year, I talked about Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. I don't mean to keep plugging that video, but the stealth mechanics were a huge contributor to my enjoyment of that game. It's super satisfying to go through a mission without alerting the enemy, and that's exactly what we'll be able to do in Breath of the Wild. And this system will undoubtedly be a big mechanic throughout the game. One thing that connects this game to MGS5 that can be a detriment to your stealthy approach to enemies is the implementation of Wolf Link. He works pretty closely to how D-Dog works in Metal Gear, with the major distinguishing factor being that its functionality is tied to the Wolf Link amiibo. If you're not careful, he can blow your cover. If you are careful, he can help you pull off a perfect ambush. A lot of enemies have a sleeping schedule that corresponds with in-game time, so it's clearly best to sneak around at night. There's even a dedicated noise meter. And while we're on the subject of meters, there's a temperature meter that can be manipulated through certain foods and outfits as well, which leads me to talk about another thing that's new for Zelda games: changing your clothing and weapons. If it's not clear already, Breath of the Wild is all about breaking conventions. One convention that's really entrenched in the lore of Zelda is the hero's garb. Now, the fact that you can wear different clothing with varying stats and effects doesn't necessarily mean that the hero's garb will become any less integral to the lore. If anything, it'll most likely increase the importance. Same thing goes for weapons and other traditional Hylian gear like the Master Sword or Hylian Shield. And the reason for that in both cases is stats, and almost more importantly, for gear degradation. Now, a lot of people are against this change in particular, and to be fair, weapon degradation can be a tedious system, but I don't care, it's fucking cool. Adding a bit of realism to Zelda, emphasis on a bit. Zelda is a franchise about an elven green boy that walks around with annoying fairies and whatnot. Can't make it too realistic. It just ain't right. Adding a bit of realism could be a cool twist for the series that, if done right, can lead to all types of fun game mechanics that we've never seen in a Zelda game. Scratch that, never seen in a Nintendo game. I think that's the most exciting thing about Breath of the Wild as a whole, really. It doesn't necessarily really try to do much in the way of innovation for the industry, but as far as Zelda goes, it's bringing it into the modern age with the Nintendo touch. Breath of the Wild fills me with excitement. Not just for the game itself, but what it can mean for NX and Nintendo as a whole moving forward. Also, you can jump, best game. Well, those are my thoughts. What do you think? Are you excited for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild? Are you excited for NX? If you're not excited for NX, why are you subscribed or why are you watching? Because that's what our channel is about. We're a Nintendo NX channel now. I'm taking every other video down. No, not really. But I did talk about Nintendo NX recently with my friend Bob over at the Wolf Den. Click over there on the left side and click in the middle if you want to hear me talk about NX some more, and on the right if you want to hear me talk about NX. This is an NX end slate. See you next week.